Hey there, everybody. Welcome. You're joining us in the second game of a two-game series. San Diego at the Mets Shea Stadium, 1979. The score is 1-1 in the bottom of the seventh, and it's Gaylord Perry on the mound for the San Diego Padres, and Wayne Twitchell started this game for the Mets. Now it's going to be Youngblood, Henderson, Flynn, and then Twitchell, so he may get pulled for a pinch hitter depending on what happens here. But he's pitched a heck of a ball game. Basically pitched 7 innings, gave up 1 run and 6 hits. Line score right now is San Diego 1 run, 6 hits, 2 errors, 5 left on base. The Mets 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 4 left on base. Mets haven't been able to get their bats going, and that's been basically the issue that they've had all season. Mets record right now, as it stands after 18 games, is 4-14 in our replay, whereas in reality it was 8-10. So we're not faring as good as Joe Torre did in actuality. So we're going to get ready. We're going to start rolling. And here's a pitch. It's a tough to Joel Youngblood. A 70 tough 70 is going to be in the out range. That's going to be a grounder. To second base, Fernando Gonzalez throws out Youngblood. Let me get a little sound now. All right, next batter is going to be Steve Henderson. That's a 10. That's in play. And that's a 90 in play. 90 is going to be grounded to short. Ozzie Smith over to Hargrove. 2 away. And it's Perry to Flynn. That's an 8. That's going to be tough. Tough pitch. See what Flynn can do with it. 57, nothing. Flynn flies it. High pop-up to right field. Back goes Hargrove. Gonzalez. In comes Winfield. And Winfield makes the catch. So that's 3 up, 3 down. We go to the top of the 8th. In the top of the 8th is going to be Twitchell facing Gene Richards, who's 0 for 1, walked twice and struck out to lead it off. Then Ozzie Smith and then Jerry Turner. That's a 4. That's patient. And a patient 82. It's in the out range. That's going to be popped up. He's a lefty, so that's going to be a pop-up to Doug Flynn. That's using the modifier. What's up, guy? How are you, man? All right. It's 1-1 in the top of the 8th inning. 1 out. Wayne Twitchell on the mound for the Mets against Ozzie Smith. That's a 6. That's going to be a tough pitch. See if Smith can handle that. 21, and he does, and lines it center field for a base hit. Not the guy you want to get allow on base because he has good speed on the bases. He's an 8, which is the highest you can. One of the, I don't know if there's anything higher. I haven't seen anything higher, but he had 28 stolen bases and 7 caught stealing, and he's going to try to get a lead. He doesn't. But the next pitch is going to be patient to Jerry Turner. Jerry Turner's a lefty. Jerry Turner batted .252 versus righties. That's going to be a 74. So that's a patient 74. That's going to be in the out range, and the 74 is going to be a fly ball center field. For out number 2, back to first goes Ozzie Smith. And now you have Dave Winfield, and Mets are going to bring in a reliever. They got Orozco in the bullpen and Dwight Bernard. You're going to bring in Bernard. And we're going to have to pull a double switch here. We're going to do it with the second baseman. Second baseman Flynn is going to get pulled, and we're going to replace him with Kelvin Chapman. Let's see, Chapman for Flynn. And then Chapman is going to bat. Then we're going to pull pitchers, bring in Bernard. And now we do, Bernard is going to go to, who's that, man? Hey, man, how are you? Walter. Yeah, the Mets, good old Mets, 79 Mets. Hey, I watched the game yesterday, guys. It's on YouTube, and I actually scored it. It's 79 Mets versus the Giants in San Francisco, May 5th, 1979. And I'm actually playing that game this week. So I scored it just for the heck of it. At some point, whoever recorded it missed 2 innings, and I was like, after doing all that effort, after waiting it out and scoring every play, every at bat for up to I think the top of the 6th, all of a sudden the thing skips, and it goes to the 8th inning, and the score is totally different. So the game, during the time that I missed, the game was actually tied, and then the Giants took the lead, and I missed like the best part of the game, where the Mets actually came back with I think they scored 3 runs, I believe. They scored 3 runs or 2 runs on a 2-run homer by Mazzilli and tied it 4-4. And then I missed the inning where Jack Clark hits a 2-run homer and the Giants take back the lead at 6-4. So what did I do? I went to Baseball Reference and I looked up play-by-play description, and I was able to fill in the scorecard with the plays that I missed, all the outs and all that, just because I wanted to have the actual scorecard for one of the games that I'm going to play, so I can compare and contrast, Anyway, okay, Bernard is going to go to, he's going to bat 8th. So Bernard's batting 8th for the Mets. We're pulling a double switch here. This takes a little bit more time than anything else. And then Chapman is going to bat, he's going to bat 9th. Let me see, there he is. Oop. All right, all done. Chapman is going to come in, and Flynn is out. Got to make those changes because otherwise we'll regret it later. And Dwight Bernard is pitching. Ozzie Smith is on at first. There's 2 outs. We're in the top of the 8th. It's San Diego at New York, and the score is 1-1. Dave Winfield steps in the box. Dave Winfield's got great power. I mean, he hit 34 home runs and batted 300 against righties, 331 against lefties. So he's trouble. That's an 8. That's in play. An in play 82, and that's going to be outrange. That's going to be a ground that is short, and Taveras flips to Chapman for out number 3. Good job by Dwight Bernard. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to actually bring the scorecard out, and then I'm going to show the scorecard, and then I'm going to actually play the game and see how that works out. That'd be interesting to see. All right. Twitchell goes back to he's out for the game, and it's Gaylord Perry. There he is. Against Kelvin Chapman, who's leading it off. Now, Kelvin Chapman didn't do much hitting in the month that he played with the Mets. In 79, batted 136 against righties, so it's nothing to be excited about. That's an 11 defense, so if you want anything, probably that's what you want. Now, the Mets want a low roll here, and that's a 78. It will not be, because that's higher than both the hit range and the error range. A 78 takes us to an out. Let's see what kind of out. It's a second base out. And now that second base is going to be a line out. L4. Boy, this is a little bit noisier crowd. Okay, next is going to be Frank Taveras with 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. It's a 1-1 game. And that's a 3. That's patient. So that's an opportunity to Taveras to get on. But no, 75 is going to be the out range, and that's going to be a fly ball lifted to center. Gene Richards comes in, pounds the glove, puts it away, 2 away. And now is the lefty, Bruce Beauclair. Beauclair is 0 for 3 on the day. That's a 5. That's patient. Again, a good opportunity to get on base, and it's not going to happen. A 68 is going to be a ground that is short. Oh, nice play by Smith. Guns it to first and gets Beauclair. Took a bad hop at the last minute. Crowd reacted. So that's the third out. We go to top of the ninth. In the top of the ninth, it's going to be Mike Hargrove, Gene Tennis, and Barry Evans. Now, Tennis is having a pretty good day. He's got a wacky card. And it's Dwight Bernard versus Mike Hargrove. That's a 4 patient. A patient 18. It's going to be a base on balls. Walk for Hargrove. Hargrove on it first. It won't be stealing. He's going to play it safe. And let's try to fix this a little bit so we can get the whole thing into view. You know what? Let's try something like that. Wait a second. There we go. It's a little bit better. All right. It's a 10. Who's up? Now, Gene Tennis has an interesting card because he's got patient all the way to 84. He's got a tough, all the way to 66. And then he's got an in play, which is nothing to shout about, to 27. But his patient column and his tough column create a challenge for a lot of pitchers, especially a right-hander. And he batted only 251 against righties and 293 against lefties, so he should be even. Actually, his patient column goes all the way up to 97 against lefties, and all the way to 68 against lefties, and 31 against in the in play against lefties. So he's got a pretty good card. Don't know exactly what was going on here, but it's pretty impressive. So anyway, he's 2 for 2 on the day. He's walked, singled, and doubled. And he's going to come to bat now. Gene Tennis, right-handed batter, played with the Oakland A's, 33 years old. And he was with the Oakland A's in those big teams. And that's a 7. Tough. It's a 0-4. Tough 0-4 is a strikeout. Tennis goes after the high heat. Strikes out. Out number 1. We're in the top of the ninth. That's a 7, tough again. That's a 70, a tough 70 is going to be in the out range. And that's going to be a fly ball, lifted to center, high fly to center. Lee Mazzilli has all the time in the world, puts that away. Back to first is Tennis. As you can see, Mazzilli's a popular player here at Shea. Okay, it's Fernando Gonzalez, the batter. He steps in the box, and that's going to be in play, a ball put into play, 60. In play 60 is going to be a grounded to second base, and Chapman flips to Taveras for out number 3. That's going to be a 4-6 if you're scoring at home. All right, so it's going to, here we go. It's going to be Lee Mazzilli. Now Gaylord Perry is pitching in the 9th inning. You know what? And we're gonna pull Gaylord Perry. I think he's had enough. He's pitching a 2-hitter. We could let him go one more inning. We have Lee Mazzilli, who's a switch hitter, and then Willie Montanez, a lefty. And Mazzilli is better from the left, a little bit better from the left side, but he's about even lefty on righty versus righty. So let's see what we can do here. I think we're gonna pull Gaylord here, and who do we have? Bob Shirley. Bob Shirley is gonna come in, and he's gonna take over for Perry. And we're gonna have to pull a double switch as well, unless we let Perry go this last inning. You know what? We're gonna try to do that. See if he can get a 1-2-3 inning. Then we don't have to do the whole move. It's a whole big production to do that double switch. So we're going to let Perry pitch to, it's a 7. That's tough. A tough 16. It's going to be a strikeout. Curveball got him. So Perry with the good junk strikes out Mazzilli to lead off the bottom of the ninth here at in Flushing, Queens. That's a 6. That's going to be in play. In play for Willie Montanez. 29. In play 29. And no, that's out of hit range. And that's going to be popped up behind the plate. Gene Tennis throws his mask away, tracks it, and makes the catch. That's out number 2. So it's working out just as we have planned. And that's going to be a 5. I think that's going to be a patient. John Stearns, that's a 17. Patient 17 is a base on balls. Base on balls for John Stearns, and John Stearns likes to run. He may take off here. We need a 5 or less for him to go. And no, we have an 8, and that 8 is tough. Joel Youngblood, the batter, right-handed batter. That's a tough 23. Tough 23 is a strikeout. Curveball got him. So, we go to the top of the 10th inning now. And we're going to see a new pitcher for the Mets. It's going to be... Who's it going to be? It's going to be Dale Murray. Dale Murray's pitching for the Mets. I don't know if you remember him, but he eventually ends up with Montreal in '79. Dale Murray. And we are going to have to pull another double switch. No matter what we do, we're stuck on the double switch here. So Murray's gonna come in, and he's going to he's batting 8th, and that's the next batter. No, Henderson's the next batter, and then comes. So we're gonna go to third base, Youngblood. Who do we have for third base here? Hold on. We can put we're going to put Alex Trevino third base. That works out for us. Okay, so we're switching out Youngblood. We're bringing in Trevino. Alex Trevino plays in that game that I watched on YouTube, the '79 game versus the Giants in San Francisco. He starts at third base. Alex does. So I know he's around, and he's playing for the Mets. So Alex Trevino is now going to bat. Alex Trevino is going to bat in place of the pitcher, and the pitcher's batting 8th. So let's put Alex Trevino batting 8th, and then the pitcher's going to, Dale Murray's going to bat 6th. Dale Murray's going to bat 6th. And we're done. We're done with the double switch, guys. It takes a little bit of time on iScore to do the double switch. It's a little tricky. It took me a while to figure it out. It took me about a month to figure it out. So the batter now is Dale Murray's pitching. At third base is Trevino. Frank Tavares is short. Kelvin Chapman is second. And Willie Montanez at first. That makes up the infield for the Mets right now. And John Stearns is behind the plate. Dale Murray, the pitcher. Gaylord Perry is going to bat, but he's going to be called back for a pinch hitter. And it's going to be a guy that plays. I have a couple guys. It's going to be Broderick. You know what? Danny Briggs. Danny Briggs is going to come in to pinch hit for Perry. So Briggs is in there. That's what his card looks like. Let's see. Dale Murray. So Alex Trevino, I'm making all these changes over here. So Perry's out. Okay. Hold on a second. Youngblood, Mazzilli, Beauclair, Chapman, Jim Richards, Ozzie Smith, Jerry Turner. Okay, Alex Trevino and Dwight Bernard is out as well. And then we have Danny Briggs. Danny Briggs is going to bat for Gaylord Perry. He's a lefty. Now, Briggs batted 197 against righties, but you don't know that during the season. He's actually the guy who played in the game before, and they used him as a pinch hitter, so it makes sense that they would use him in this game as a pinch hitter. He's a lefty versus the righty. So it's 6. It's patient off Murray's card, and we just rolled an 18. A patient 18, and that's a base on balls. So Briggs is on, and Briggs has just average speed. So Briggs is on at first. And let's see, let's set this up a little bit so you can read it a little bit better. And Dale Murray's going to pitch to Gene. You know what? Briggs is not going to attempt to steal. He was 2-1, but he's not going to attempt to steal. Oh, why not? Let's have some fun. Let's see what happens here. We need a 3 for him to steal. It's a 9. That's going to be a ballpark off of Dale Murray's card. Richards is a lefty, so we're looking at 1 to 46. We roll 80, 86, so that's going to be in play. In play 69. In play 69 is in the out range. And that's going to be a grounded as short. We rolled a 9. That's going to be out of the double play range. Oh, Dale Murray's double play range is a 10, but Gene Richards is an 8. So that's going to be a fielder's choice. A 69 is going to be a 6-4 fielder's choice. And runner out at second on the force. And Gene Richards is on at first. And Gene Richards runs. He's got a stolen base today. And that's a 6. And I think Richards is at 4. So no, he doesn't go. It's a 7 to Ozzie Smith. Ozzie Smith is a switch hitter batting lefty versus Dale Murray. A 7 is going to be tough. A tough 24. And that's going to be a single for Ozzie Smith. And that's going to be soft blooper into short right field, and runner on first advances 1 base. So going and stopping at second is Gene Richards, and Ozzie Smith has a single, so it's runners on first and second, 1 out, top of the 10th inning, the score 1-1. And Dale Murray's going to have to face Jerry Turner, and we're going to go to Mets bullpen again. They got a lefty out there, Orozco. Jesse Orozco started pitching for the Mets at this point in the season. He ends up pitching only 18 games. I imagine he gets injured, I guess, in about a month and a half, and we won't see him anymore. But he's doing a lot of pitching for the Mets at this time. He actually pitches in that game on the 5th of May in 1979, pitches an inning. All right, so Murray's out, and we're bringing in Orozco, Jesse Orozco. So here goes. Don't have many more pitchers, so we have a couple more, but we can't make changes like you would nowadays. So we're gonna have to go with Jesse for a little while. He's actually a long reliever, so he can go for 3 innings. So we're gonna keep him if the game goes that long. Let's see. Jesse Orozco, the lefty, facing Jerry Turner, left-handed hitter. Turner batted .235 versus lefties. Has a little bit of power, 2 home runs in 100 at bats, but not much. And that's a 5. That's going to be patient off Orozco. A patient 0-9. Or that's a 0-6, excuse me. A patient 0-6 is a base on balls. Yep, against lefty, base on balls. So bases are now loaded. That creates a situation where the Mets, now it's Dave Winfield. The Mets are going to have to bring the infield in here. There's no 2 ways about it. And let's see what happens here. It's going to be Dave Winfield, bases loaded, 1 out, infield in for the Mets. And we have to get our infield in chart. And here it is. I don't know if you can see it. We'll leave it there. Bases are loaded, so we're going to get the bases loaded side of this. There's 2 sides to this, bases loaded and bases not loaded. There's a lot of other information there, but you can just ignore it. Just look for the bases loaded chart if the bases are loaded, and if not, use the other chart. And then you're going to roll at the end, and we're going to see it's going to be 2 to 6, 7 to 8, 9 to 10, 11 to 12. All right, so here's the pitch from Jesse Orozco into Dave Winfield. That's a 9. That's going to be ballpark. So ballpark on a righty is going to be 1 to 33, and that's a 91, so that's going to be in play. In play, it's 1 to 29 for a hit. Oh, no, against lefties. Yep, 1 to 29. And it's an 85. In play 85 is going to be a grounded to short. That's trouble because now we're going to have to roll for the infield in. Had it been a fly ball, we wouldn't have had to do that. And it would have been too shallow to score anybody. So unfortunately, it's a grounder to shortstop. And there's the risk that if we roll a 9 or a 10, the ball sneaks past the drawn in infield, batter safe, runners advance one base. So we don't want to roll a 9 or a 10. So we're going to roll right now for the infield in result. It's a 7. Runner on third, out at home, batter safe. Okay, so it's going to be a fielder's choice basically. And that's how you play it on iScore. You plug it in as a fielder's choice, and then you go 6-2. Then it's going to ask you what happens to the runner at home is out. How is he out? He's out on a force out, and then everybody else kind of moves up. That's how you do it on iScore. And I actually have a video to show you how to keep track, how to program iScore for tabletop dice games. And I think I take my time with it, and I think I try to do a good job. I haven't had too many comments on it, but I've had a lot of views on it. So you can check it out if you need to do that, if you find that, hey, I want to try something different. I try to minimize the learning curve for all of us, and kind of, it's pretty simple, but of course, anything, it takes a little while to get used to. All right, so the bases are loaded. It's going to be Mike Hargrove, a lefty. So it's good that we have a lefty in there because he's going to face Hargrove, a lefty. So Orozco's going to pitch to Mike Hargrove now. Now the infield's back, so we can take this thingamajig away. Okay, now that wasn't a roll, by the way, because I kind of threw him down so I can move the paper. All right. So it's Mike Hargrove at the plate, bases loaded, 2 outs, top of the 10th. It's a 1-1 game, and it's Jesse Orozco on the mound. He looks in for the sign. He sets and deals, and it's a 7. That's patient. That's trouble. That's actually an advantage for the batter. From 1 to 82, there's going to be an RBI here for Hargrove, and that's a 60. So a 60 on the Hargrove side is a walk. And Jesse Orozco walks in the go-ahead run here in the top of the 10th inning, so Met fans are not happy. It's an RBI for Hargrove. He waited it out. Now it's the Gene Tennis, who's 2 for 3 on the day. He's walked, singled, doubled, and struck out. Right-handed batter. And he batted .293 versus lefties. And we're going to let Orozco face him. Patient again. And that's a 52. That's trouble once again. And that's going to be against lefty. That's going to be a base on balls. Another walk by Orozco. So the Padres are up 3-1 now here in the top of the 10th. And it's a righty, Barry Evans. And that's an 8. That's tough. A tough 35 against a lefty. A tough 35 is going to be a strikeout. Evans goes after the high heat, and he's down swinging. But the damage has been done here, and Jesse Orozco kind of lost his sight of the plate and walked in 2 runs. And now the Padres lead it 3-1 here in the 10th inning with last licks for the Mets. And pitching for the Padres with Henderson, a pinch Trevino, and Chapman coming up. I'm going to probably bring in a righty. I'm trying to see who their closer was. 13 saves for Raleigh Fingers, but he had played in 54 games. I guess he was their closer, Raleigh Fingers. Yeah, he actually pitches in this game, I believe. So we're going to bring in Raleigh Fingers, and not only out of respect for Raleigh Fingers, we're actually going to put him in in a little skirt. There you go. All right, so you'll be protected for the rest of the replays that I do with the '79 season. And I just use the Ultra Pro card sleeves. These are from just the regular baseball cards, which I want to get the '79 season. They're about $100 to get the whole complete '79 season, so I can see what these guys look like and when I play them. And anyway, I remember what a lot of them look like. I don't remember what everybody looks like. That's what I use. I keep that next to me here as I go. So it's going to be Raleigh Fingers is going to be facing Steve Henderson, Alex Trevino, and then Kelvin Chapman. So let's put that into view. And this is the last licks for the Mets. Mets are down by 2 runs. They're on the verge of losing their 15th game of the season. They're 4-14 as it stands right now. That's a 6. That's a tough 0-6 against a righty. That's a strikeout. So Henderson down on strikes. Alex Trevino's next. 3. That's defense. Defense, now we're talking. Defense 16. So that's going to be whether it's a hit or an error, somebody's getting on base. We're going to find out. It's a range, center field range, so it's going to be a hit. Let's see what kind of hit it is to the outfield. It's going to be a double. Okay, so it's a double for Alex Trevino off the range, Gene Richards' range. Drops in between 3 players. Ozzie Smith goes back. Fernando Gonzalez back. Gene Richards comes in, and nobody can get it. And Alex Trevino reaches second base. So now it's Kelvin Chapman. And we're going to have to let Kelvin Chapman bat because I don't know that I have any more infielders in case we tie this up. I could bring somebody like, you know what? I have a player. What happened to Beauclair is in right field. But you know what? Beauclair plays like 4 or 5 positions. Let me try to manage a little bit here. Let's look at Beauclair. Hebner's out. He has back trouble. He's going to be out for about a week. Hodges is a catcher. Only plays catcher. Cranepool I could put in right field where Beauclair is. So let's look at Beauclair and let's see what other positions Beauclair could play. Oh, I had a guy. Who's the guy that plays all these positions? Wait a second. I have a Abe. Oh, gee, how you doing, brother? John Stearns plays a bunch of positions. Oh, here he is. Joel Youngblood, and he's in the game. Look at this. Joel Youngblood is like a modern-day kind of super versatile guy that plays outfield and infield. I could put him at second. Hey, man. I could put him at second base. Okay, so then I'm going to pinch hit. I'm going to bring in Ed Cranepool, one of my favorite Mets of all time. And I'm going to bring in Ed Cranepool to pinch hit. And then for the light hitting Kelvin Chapman. And plus Cranepool's a lefty. That makes more sense. So Cranepool's going to come in, and then Cranepool's going to move to the outfield, and then we're going to move Youngblood to second base. Youngblood plays every position. He's like a modern guy, you know, the typical guy that plays every position nowadays, you know. So anyway, all right, Raleigh Fingers to Ed Cranepool. Now, this is the deal. Alex Trevino's on second base. There's 1 out. It's the bottom of the 10th. The Mets are down 3-1. Ed Cranepool is batting against. Oh, I forgot to bring in Raleigh Fingers. Let's go back real quick. I'll fix it later. Well, you know what? Let me go back. Let me exit out real quick so I can write in edit game. You exit out. You edit game in the 10th inning. And then it's going to be 10th inning. Okay. And here I got to bring in Raleigh Fingers. I brought his card in. I just didn't punch him into the system. So I'm going to make a substitution for the visitor. And it's going to be, it's going to be Raleigh Fingers is coming in. And I have to actually write him in. Add sub. I'm just going to write Fingers for now. There you go. And now we're gonna pick them, and we're gonna save it. Okay, so Fingers is. I backtracked into the book, and I added Fingers. Who's there? Hey, Tribe is here. How you doing, Tribe? Okay, so here we go. Fingers is on the mound. Ed Cranepool is pinch hitting for the light hitting Kelvin Chapman. we've got Trevino on at second base. There's only one out. A home run ties it here, but we'll take anything at this point. It's 3-1, bottom of the 10th at Shea Stadium. So this is the last licks for the Mets. All right, we're ready. We set everything up. Let's see what happens with Kranepool. That's a 4. That's patient. That's good for the Mets. It's good for Kranepool. 1-48, almost a 50% chance he gets on base. Oh, 62. It's not going to happen. And that's going to be a ground ball to short. We rolled a 4. Oh, that's going to be double play, game over. Double play within Kranepool's and double play within, yep, Fingers. And that's going to be a 6-4. Oh, no. Okay, he's at second base. Okay, so he's going to hold. So that's Ozzie Smith up with it. Looks Trevino back to second and throws across the diamond. And that's out number 2. Wow, okay. So Trevino holds up, and you have Frankie Taveras now. Frankie Taveras 0 for 3 on the day. 2 outs. Here's the pitch from Fingers. That's a 3. That's defense again. And that's a 33. Wow, okay, this is exciting. We got to see what happens. Error second base, and we have Fernando Gonzalez at second base. Let's see what his error rating is. Gonzalez is a 2 error rating, so he's not a really good. He's not a very good fielder. That's to our advantage. Huge advantage here now. Okay, so we're going to look at 2. It's 1-51 is an error, and we rolled a 33, so it's an error. Let's see what kind of error to the second baseman. It's going to be a 1 base error to the second baseman. But this is the issue. There's 2 outs, so Alex Trevino would have been running on contact. Okay, so he's running on contact. And there's a rule that may override this rule. I'm sorry, I wasn't sure. There's a rule that may override this rule, and this is something that we need to look into as a group. The rule says that with 2 outs, if you're 6 or better, and let's find out if Trevino is 6 or better, you take the extra base, you score from first on a double, and you score from second on a single, and he's a 7. So I'm going to say, hey, man, Anthony Cruz, how you doing, brother? So I'm going to say, and tell me if this does not make sense, that the ball, there was contact made, and he's already, he's hustling. He's moving. There's 2 outs, and he's moving around third base, and all of a sudden, Fernando Gonzalez boots the ball. It rolls away from him towards the outfield. He just heads for home, and he scores. That makes sense for me. It's a 3-2 ball game now, because one rule is overriding the other rule of just like common sense and baseball logic. So it's going to be an error on Gonzalez, which is going to allow an error on Gonzalez, which is going to allow the Trevino on second to score, and then Taveras is on at first. Now Taveras is a base stealer. If we want, we could try to get him to second base. And Beauclair, let's look at what Beauclair does. He's a lefty. Let's go Mets. We sucked. You're telling me. They're actually 4-14 at this point in my replay. In reality, they were 8-10. So as you can see, the kind of manager I am. All right, so Beauclair bats terrible. I mean, he against righties is 184. But I've had guys get hits. That's why I love, I don't go really by batting averages that much, because I like to play the guys who actually played, because a lot of times they'll actually produce for you. And you don't know this is they may be in a slump right now, or he could have been hitting 300 at this point. I don't know. And so they kept him in there. Eventually he ended up in 184, and that's when they started pulling him. So we're going to try to get Taveras to steal second base. A 6 he goes, and let's have some fun with that. Let's roll 6 or less. He goes and tries to steal. That's an 11. He doesn't. That's going to be in play. We're going to use that same roll. And yeah, replay. I know. Yeah. Okay, so Beauclair. And we decided that Beauclair was going to come into play. No, where's Beauclair playing for us? He's playing right field. And it was going to be, and where's Youngblood? Oh, Youngblood. Youngblood's not in the game. All right, so Youngblood's not in the game. He shouldn't be in the game. I don't know. I don't see him here. All right. Oh yeah, we did bring him in. Right. We brought him in to play third base. We brought him in to play third base. So he's in the game. You know what? Actually, Youngblood. I don't even know what I did. Let me look back real quick here. Substitutions: Ed Kranepool for Raleigh Fingers, Alex Trevino, Steve Henderson, Barry Evans, Gene Tennis, Hargrove, Dave Winfield. Okay, let's look at the lineup when the game started. Let's see who's in this lineup for the Mets. Okay, Youngblood is playing third base. Oh, I pulled Youngblood earlier, so Youngblood's not even in here. I don't even have a second baseman at this point. All right, this is a mess. All right, so what are we doing? What are we doing? It's Bruce Beauclair. That's what we're going to do. He's going to bat against Raleigh Fingers. 11 is in play. Here goes. That's going to be 65. An in-play 65. That's way out of range. That's going to be a grounded to short. It's going to be the game. Ozzie Smith up with it. Flips to Gonzalez for the force, and the game is over. And it's going to be... it's going to be a win for Gaylord Perry. Final score is 3-2, San Diego Padres. Gaylord Perry wins it, and the loss is going to go to, let's see who is the second pitcher for the Mets here. The loss is going to go to Orozco. I believe it's Orozco who takes the loss for the Mets. Yeah, I know. It's going to be a huge losing season, man. So Orozco's going to get the loss. He comes in. Let me double check that. Let me go to the scorebook for. Let me go to the scorebook for. Excuse me. Okay. It was Murray started the inning, right? Dale Murray started the inning and allowed the base on balls. Okay, yeah, he allowed 3 runs. So he basically allowed the go-ahead run on base, and he put the Mets behind. They went to score another run, but I guess since he allowed the first go-ahead run, he's going to get the loss. So Murray's going to get the loss. I believe that's how it goes. The actual losing run, the third run that the Padres scored, was allowed by Orozco, but they were already down at that point. So they were already down 2-1. So you can't hit Orozco with that loss. You got to hit Murray. Murray put him down, and just because the Mets scored 1 to make it 3-2, I don't think it invalidates Murray's failure. Yes, that was a huge trade. That was a huge trade. I mean, the late 70s and early 80s are like my area of concentration. These are the areas that I want to replay the most, and every so often I'll venture out of those areas, like I do a 2009 or a 2001 or something to that effect. But otherwise, I'm going to be concentrating on late 70s, which is when I was growing up, and early 80s, when I missed a lot of baseball, and I wanted to watch baseball, but I was kind of in school, I was working, I was doing a lot of stuff that really prevented me from really playing, rolling, and staying really, really into the game like I was in the late 70s. So it's going to be a loss for Murray and a win for Perry. And that's going to be it. That's going to be it. And let's look at the... Oh, wait, I had the line score there. Exit. I'm going to read you the line score, then I'm taking off. I'm going to set up for tomorrow's game. I think it's a series with San Francisco. Line score was San Diego, 3 runs, 8 hits, 3 errors. And the Mets, 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors. And San Diego, despite making 3 errors, actually won the game. So anyway, c'est la vie. And I'll talk to you guys. I'm going to set up tomorrow morning. I may wake up at 5 a.m. like I do many times and roll a quick game, and then head off to work. And that gives me, the energy that I need to get through the day at work. And in the afternoon, I got one of my son's high school varsity game. He's starting at third base in his final season as a senior. So I'm looking forward to seeing. Hopefully, I'll get see a hit out of him and a nice play at third base. And that's about it. So I'm going to say, Anthony, man, thanks for stopping by. It's a pleasure to see you and talk to you. And I'll see all you guys who stopped by and said hello. Thanks, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care now. Final score.